This is the issue of tax and how oppositions operate, because it is a very material question how they go about supporting governments and legislation. Now, obviously, only an opposition dedicated for opposition's sake would oppose good policy. Yes, support good policy. You don't just say no because it comes from a bad government. And that's pretty much what Susan Lee said pretty early on. Let's have a listen.
I want to start with a positive relationship with the Prime Minister, and I want to do that with goodwill.
But how far should an opposition go to support bad policy just to make it less bad than it otherwise would be? Because this is a big judgment call. It's a question that will come up frequently in this term of Parliament for the Liberals, because despite Labor's big majority in the House of Representatives, it still lacks a majority in the Senate. To pass legislation, it'll need the support of the Greens or the Coalition. Now, to get Green support, the government would almost certainly have to make its legislation worse. To get the support of the Coalition, the government would presumably have to make its legislation less bad. But should the Coalition support bad legislation through the Senate, making it less bad if they can, but forever tying their name to something that they might fundamentally disagree on? Something on principle, like, in this case, a new tax on unrealised capital gains. Now, yes, the government announced this plan in the previous term of Parliament, and they are claiming now a mandate for it. Yet the original announcement was a broken promise from the previous election, where Anthony Albanese pledged to make no change whatsoever, he said, to taxes on superannuation. So an increase in tax on the earnings of superannuation accounts with a big balance, well, that's a tax increase. He said he wouldn't do it. It's a broken promise. Now, normally the Coalition does not support Labor governments to increase taxes and to break promises. Plus, in this case, there's the added issue of taxing unrealised capital gains, taxing money that's not actually been earned, and that's wrong in principle. The new Shadow Treasurer, you saw him there, Ted O'Brien, has said that he's open to negotiating with the government provided it drops its tax on unrealised capital gains.
If Labor is not prepared to compromise at all and try to deliver lower, simpler, fairer taxes, then there's no deal to be had.
That means the government won't have to turn to the Greens, who not only support taxing unrealised gains, but want the threshold for this drop to just $2 million. So either we get an even worse tax increase thanks to the Greens, or we get a less bad tax increase thanks to the Coalition. Today, various Coalition MPs warned against supporting Labor's super tax in any form.
The problem with unrealised gains is a lot of people out there, like farmers, who have assets in superannuation, but they may be asset rich, but they're cash poor, and they don't have the cash flow to pay a tax bill on an annual basis that could come under this scheme. So there's no way in hell we'll support that. We'll fight that to the death.
Just a really clear marker, I think, for everyone out there asking where the Liberal Party will be. We are the party of lower taxes. We won't be supporting higher taxes.
And look, there's a lot of hypocrisy there about the politicians, the PM in particular, and farmers. I'll get to that in a moment. But the best thing here would be for Susan Lee to announce a general principle, namely that the Coalition will support good policy, but it will oppose bad policy, and that it's not in the business of saving the government from itself by supporting bad policy just because it's won a few token concessions. If the Coalition is going to do better this term than last, it has to learn how to say no, and fast.